Yo, what is going on, everyone in the XRP community? Thank you for tuning in today's video. Really appreciate it. Now, since we are in a time of the bear market for the last 11, 12 months or so, and now XRP is going below the sub 40 levels, I thought this would be an appropriate time to make this kind of video and talk some XRP price. Now, I am not going to throw any specific figures out there or do so by putting in the title or anything like that, but I just want to have kind of a simple discussion of where the XRP ecosystem and specifically the price of XRP is headed a few years down the road. Now, the main thing I want to talk about is essentially the price of XRP needs to be at a higher valuation than it is now to push some serious volume through the ecosystem. And as we found out lately, the RippleNet is actually being built right around the XRP ecosystem because with XCurrent 4.0, us getting the knowledge of that, because since the birth of XCurrent, from our perception, it's been XCurrent has nothing to do with XRP. But then recently, from the Singapore event where Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple were both in attendance, we actually got a picture of a pamphlet that was showing XCurrent 4.0 can now seamlessly plug into XRapid. So now we're seeing XCurrent and XRapid, which is two of the three Ripple products, is being built around the XRP ecosystem. Now, XVIA, that's kind of something a little more in the gray area. I think we have heard from shorts before that XVIA can utilize XRP, but XVIA has kind of a different use case of a multiplicity of smaller payments and whatnot. But pretty much, for the most part, the Ripple network is being built around the XRP ecosystem. Dilip Rao has said the first thing you get them to do is use XCurrent, then get them to source liquidity from XRapid, and then the holy grail, having them hold XRP. So that's where I really do like the fact that Ripple does hold a lot of XRP. I know a lot of people see that as a bad thing outside of the community, but I see it as a good thing because it's in their best interest for the price to be higher, and also it does need to be higher for some serious volume to be pushed through. Now, here's where I want to give my first example from. Look at this tweet by David Schwartz. It says, in discussing XRP, he says it can't be dirt cheap. That doesn't make any sense. If XRP costs $1, they need a million XRP, which would cost 1 million. If XRP costs $1 million, they need 1 million XRP, which again would cost $1 million. So in the end, they're still putting in the same amount of money, but in the difference in the price of XRP, you're moving less XRP by having the price actually higher and the liquidity there. And that's where it says, he says that higher prices, they make payments cheaper. Right now, you can buy $1 million house with Bitcoins, and Bitcoins were at $300. It would move the market too much and be too expensive to be practical. So essentially, XRP does need to be at a higher valuation. Now, to just kind of put some perspective on this, I actually use the Wayback Machine, which is Internet Archive. Pretty cool stuff if you want to see some data from the internet like years back. Especially, it's very fun with CoinMarketCap. If only could have bought at those price levels right there. But anyways, to kind of prove his point, see when Bitcoin back in 2015 of January, the price was only just under $300, and look at the volume. There was not much liquidity there. There was $18 million in volume for the day. Now, let's say you were going to purchase some sort of asset or property or some sort of item with Bitcoin, and let's say it costs $2 to $3 million, you're going to be moving the market too much to where it's actually going to be very expensive to move those funds through. Thus, having the higher price Bitcoin, it allows for bigger transfers to go through without necessarily moving the market. So as you can see right here, now Bitcoin, the current volume today is 6.7 billion, which is massive. So now if you're going to take that same 3 to 5 million transaction and conduct it through the Bitcoin network today, it would be actually more efficient back than compared to back in 2015. Now, it's not a lot better than XRP for a number of obvious reasons to do with the network, but same thing with XRP. Look at XRP 3 years ago. Look at how much of a jump we have had in XRP liquidity over the last 3 years. That's why I think right now the RippleNet is seriously being built around the XRP ecosystem a lot more compared to back in the days, because there was not a lot of liquidity there for banks to mess with. I mean, you're talking like if you want to do a $10,000 transaction, that would actually move the market a bit to where XRP wouldn't be a viable option to actually, use for payments. But now we have XRP just at just under $1.3 billion in volume, to where that $10,000 transaction would actually make sense for XRP. Now, when we're talking about a multiplicity of large transactions, we're talking like the Swift Daily, I think something is like 7 trillion. No, I think Swift Daily is 5.3 trillion, but the global international trade market for fiat currencies, it's about $7 trillion per day. Now, let's say Ripple is working with a large institution, which they are, and let's say they do about $5 billion a day in transactions, right? The current liquidity available for XRP, it wouldn't be viable enough. There isn't the sufficient liquidity there for the value to actually be transferred through the network. Thus, XRP is going to need to be at a higher price. I'm not going to throw out any specific levels, but it would make more sense, a lot more sense, to have XRP at a high price valuation with billions on top of billions of dollars in volume. That way banks could actually push billions through the network. Look at this statement from Susan Athey, who is one of the board of directors at Ripple. She says, Ripple wants to move hundreds of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars, because that's what the daily amount is, between banks internationally. So they need a highly scalable system. Now, in terms of the XRP network, everything's scalable, cheap, and fast transactions. That's great, right? But the real thing that's just delaying Ripple from getting billions of dollars put in through the XRP ecosystem is the current liquidity available. Now, this brings me back to my point. Higher price, I mean, you could debate whether it has a direct correlation with liquidity, but look at this. Bitcoin right now, 6.7 billion in volume, $4,000. Back then, 18 million in volume, only $284. So, higher price does usually equate to more liquidity. Now, my question is if Ripple, like they say here, do really want to move billions of dollars a day through the XRP ecosystem, because, banks can move billions through Xcurrent, because they still... Xcurrent's just something on top of the current fiat to fiat relationships. SCB Bank in Sweden, they've said they've moved a couple billion through the Ripple network, but not XRP though. But my question is if we know that XRP needs to be at a higher valuation in order to have more liquidity there so banks can actually push some serious volume through to save money, does Ripple have a plan to boost the liquidity of XRP? Now, that's where we had all the speculation of, some institution purchasing up all the sell orders on the market and bringing us to a dramatically high price level, and we'd have more liquidity there, but that's not necessarily a liquidity boost necessarily. But if we know that XRP does need to be at a higher valuation to move funds through, what's Ripple's plan to increase liquidity? From what we've heard, David Schwartz has stated that their plan is to build up a large amount of low-value, high-volume corridors, high-volume exotic corridors, and that would eventually, over time, from the usage and the speculation off of that, and the interest in XRP based off of the usage by banks, it would build up the liquidity. But I wonder if they have somewhat of a more dramatic plan to boost the liquidity of XRP. So I just wanted to kind of clarify on this point, guys, because I know seeing the price below 40 cents, it can be kind of devastating and might kind of hurt inside a little bit. But at the same time, in order for Ripple to truly succeed, XRP does need to be at a higher valuation. That's what gives me a lot of, there's many things that give me a lot of confidence in this investment, but one of the main ones being is that it needs to be at a higher valuation if Ripple is going to save some banks serious money. Because sure, Qualix, they can move like a million, because Qualix right now is actively using XRP, and we haven't gotten any clarification on what other institutions are actually using XRP currently, but it's at a very small scale. And with these small scale transactions through XRP, the bank, yeah, they're saving money, but they're not necessarily saving a lot of money. Where the banks are going to save the money at is those corridors that they do like tens of 20, maybe $50 billion a day in volume alone in that one corridor. And if they can get that sufficient liquidity for that corridor, that's where they're going to be saving a lot of money. So that's the thing. If Ripple, like they do state, wants to push billions, if not trillions through the network, through the XRP ecosystem, it's going to need to be at a higher valuation. So that's just what I want to kind of talk about today briefly. It's kind of a general topic, but I mean, at the same time, some people might call it speculation, but in all reality, we're gonna need that higher price XRP for it to really work. Because yeah, sure, if banks are, if a bank uses XRapid for an exotic corridor that's doing, let's say, like 2 million a day, sure, they're going to save some money, but they're not going to be saving like the big bucks on the more efficient corridors that have like tons of billions in volume. So that's where we're going to need that higher priced XRP for these banks to seriously save money. Sure, banks can save like 20-30% on Xcurrent, but that's just a layer on top of that's an additional layer on top of the current fiat relationships. But where the banks really save the money at is actually sourcing liquidity from these exchanges. And for banks to push tens of 20s of billions through to where we're going to be really saving millions of dollars a day on these transactions is where XRP is going to need at a higher price to be able to be sufficient for these billions of dollars in transactions. So just something I want to kind of briefly talk about, guys, you know, a little bit of encouragement, because essentially for Ripple's plan to work, basically to summarize this whole video, is that for Ripple's plan to really work, to truly succeed, XRP does need to be at a higher valuation. There's no going around it. We cannot push we cannot push $100 billion a day in volume at the 37-cent level. That, I mean, the level for that kind of volume would be more like $10, $20, $30 or something. But it's just rough estimation. But essentially, guys, just to kind of give you guys a little encouragement on your position on XRP, is that for them to truly succeed and save banks money and liquidate these nostro vostro fiat to fiat relationships that are costing banks utilizing the correspondent banking network a lot of money, you know, that's where Ripple's going to truly succeed. Sure, banks are going to save money, you know, adding that additional layer of X current on the messaging system to save like 20 to 30%. But where the real money is going to be at, where banks all over the world are going to be having their jaw drop at Ripple, is where you can start saving billions a year just by sourcing liquidity from XRP. And for XRP to be able to do that, the price needs to be higher. It's simple as that. So thank you guys for watching this video today. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, that's what I really just want to talk about today. For Ripple to truly succeed and save banks billions of dollars, XRP does need to be at a higher valuation. Sure, again, X current, it's just that kind of additional layer to the fiat to fiat relationships, but these nostro vostro accounts, such an age-old system, and it's costing banks a lot of money. And to get banks out of that pothole, they're going to need to have a higher price XRP so they can liquidate these fiat to fiat relationships that are costing banks billions of dollars a year. So there you go, guys. Essentially, kind of a little motivation for you guys, because truly XRP does need to be at a higher valuation. We don't know what specific valuation for what kind of volume and whatnot in certain corridors, but the general consensus really is XRP does need to be at a higher value to be able to push real volume through the network. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, check the links in the description if you want to support the channel. And guys, you got like 1 day left of the 50% off Nano, so take advantage of it. Link in the description. Make sure to turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video or stream. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, appreciate your insight. And I'll see you guys in the next one.